Hi, y'all. Sorry if my light's a little too bright. Um, I think that's good. So I never really went live before. This is the first time. This channel. So this channel has a history. This channel had a goal. Unfortunately, 2024 changed that. This channel was created as a vlog of my writing, my showing, my training. Essentially, me climbing the training ladder, so to speak, in dressage with my horses. The freestyle on this channel with my first horse, Eve, the one with Dean Martin, that was actually our very first and our very last ride as a competitive team. That freestyle was my dream. I had dreamt of doing a freestyle with him since I was 13 years old. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to get to that point. Well, to be able to do a freestyle, you have to have a qualifying score. I forgot what that score number is, per se. But we hit it. We hit that score. And it was a first level dressage freestyle. It was touch and go for songs, trying to figure out what we're going to do for songs. And then we found the first song, which is Dean Martin's Ain't That a Kick in the Head, for the first part, which was the canter work and the circling and the canter work in that video. The second song was Dean Martin's cover of Mambo Italiano, and that was used for our lateral movements within the trot work. That was phenomenal. My trainer did a fabulous job putting it together. Her husband did a fabulous job editing the music. She did a great job in choreographing the moves, the movements, the gaits. And my horse was phenomenal as the athlete, and I was good as the rider. I'm probably not going to have a lot of viewers, but it will make me feel better to get my story out. I met Eve when I was 13 years old. Actually, at the time I was 12. And I had no clue about the breed, the Frisian breed. And I absolutely fell in love with him. I knew in my heart he was mine. I knew. Fast forward to when I was 13, and I had the biggest shock of my young life when he actually did become mine. I still remember the words from my adopted mom. Just give this word a chance. If you don't like it, we'll try something else. At first, I was like, great. I have to have the fancy coat, the fancy hat, the fancy boots. I was like, this is not something I want to do. And when I got a look at the upper level tests, I absolutely said, and no. My brain cannot memorize all of that. Well, my brain could. I started at intro level A through C, went to training levels 1 through 3, went to first level tests 1 through 3, got to second level test 1 with him, got to do the first ever first level freestyle with him. We never debuted at a rated show or a recognized show or a USEF and USDF sanctioned show. We never had the opportunity to do that because when he got older, health problems started to come up. And I'm getting ready to get into that now. So with Frisians, unfortunately, due to so much breeding for the homozygous black gene, the double E, the double capital E in the genetics, there's a lot of health problems because with the homozygous black, when you're breeding for that genetic, there's a lot of inbreeding. And we know how inbreeding goes. There's a lot of health problems, a lot of health risks, a lot of medical problems. So when all of this started, Frisians that were homozygous black run the risks of hydrocephalus, dwarfism, gastric ruptures, aortic ruptures, and also megaesophagus. Megaesophagus is what we've seen the videos of the German Shepherds and the dogs that have like the special high chair where they have to eat sitting upright with their dish in front of them, like up here with their head down. That's megaesophagus. That's the best I can come up with. He had to have food basically chest height in a bucket. The food had to be mush, and that's what he ate. Well, it got to the point where we couldn't figure out what was causing him to choke. So we got him scoped by our local vet who couldn't find anything. Shocker. We take him to Virginia Tech. Shout out to Virginia Tech. They are phenomenal. Their equine hospital is top notch. I love them. I thank them every day. Excuse me, sorry, I'm yawning. I was up all night last night doing stuff, gaming and reading. I'm an insomniac sometimes. And they scoped him, couldn't find anything. So we had a mystery case on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We had a horse who choked and we had no way to cause. So they were like, well, take him off grass. So we literally cut our field down to about that short of grass. Actually, I'll show you. It was about that short of grass. Even then, he choked again. Well, they're like, well, take away the hay. So we took away the hay. When we did, we had a snowstorm. and my adopted mom said, bring him and your quarter horse in. So I brought both boys in the barn for the night because we were having a snowstorm. So there's no hay in the stall for him. And I think about this now, and it is just, I don't mean to laugh, but it was kind of funny. So I'm getting ready to feed my quarter horse, Haley's Bow, who goes all the way back. If you're a quarter horse aficionado like I am, he went all the way back to Two-Eyed Jack. And he would give you the same side eye as a Two-Eyed Jack, which was hysterical. So I'm getting ready to feed both my Frisian and my quarter horse, and I go to take the food. I drop Haley's feed bowl on the ground for him. I go to put my Frisians up on the bucket, and forgive my language, ladies and gentlemen. The SOB had foam in his mouth. He looked like he had rabies. And I called my mom and I said, I think Eve has rabies. She goes, call Katie. Katie, who is my phenomenal trainer. Call her up and go, Katie, Eve's foaming at the mouth. Is it possible for horses to get rabies? She goes, no. Call the vet. Got it. Hung up. Called the vet. Was the vet on emergencies today? And the receptionist was like, what's wrong? What's your case? I said, hi, my name's Nikki Haber. I own Eve. Gave her the farm address. I have a black Frisian gelding, age 20 years old, choking. At this point, he was actually 18, 19 years old. I'm going to say 20 because that's how old he was when he died. So she comes back, says it's the other vet, Dr. Barker, who I love. I said, can you tell her that Eve's choking and we need her at the farm? Sure. So I'm waiting. She calls me and I said, hey, Eve's choking and he has white foam all over his lips. It looks like he ate vanilla ice cream, but there's no vanilla ice cream. I can promise you that right now. So she comes out. She gives him a muscle relaxer. And once the muscle relaxer takes effect, she tubes him. So when you do a tubing with a horse, I don't really have actually I do have a model that I could use, but what the tube does is it goes through the nose, because your nasal cavity and your throat, so your nose you can also get stuff running down the back of your throat from your nose. So you have the nose, which the tube goes up the nostril, down to down the esophagus, and to the stomach. And so we did that. And she managed to get the choke. She managed to get the stuff out. And finished that. Gave him a shot of Banamine and said, if he's not right by noon or so, call me. I said, yeah, I got it. Around 1 o'clock, I go back out to check on him. And normally when you give this horse Banamine, he is like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, normal, totally fine. No, that's not the case. So, call my adopted mom. Told her, Eve ain't right. She goes, call Katie. I hang up with her. I call Katie. Eve ain't right. She goes, call the vet. So I hang up with her. Hey, Dr. Barker, Eve ain't right. I'm turning around, coming back. So she turns around, comes back, and does muscle relaxer, tubes him, does the tubing. There's nothing. She draws the tube. She goes, I'm going to do a rectal exam. So she does the rectal exam. She goes, I'm going to make a referral call to Virginia Tech, and you're going to need to take him up there. I was like, okie dokie. So I call Katie. Katie, you might want to call my mother and tell her that Eve's going to need another trip to Virginia Tech. So I said, Dr. Barker is making the referral call right now. So she goes. I'm at home, worried about my gelding. I get a call from my trainer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be fun. I answered the phone. Hey, Katie, what's going on? You won't believe this. I said, hit me with your best shot. She said, he was impacted, meaning he was colicking, not a major colic. He was just impacted. I went, what? She said, yeah, he was impacted. How? She goes, are you sitting down? I said, I am now. What? She goes, he ate the bedding. He what? He ate the bedding. You're kidding me, right? Nope. What we had in our stalls at the time was hemp bedding from Old Dominion. And being as it was, there's no hay in the stall, my lovely Frisian gelding of 14 years decided, looks like a good snack. Can I eat it? Yeah, that's an expensive pet though. So he stays overnight. That was about maybe the second stay at Tech that he had. The first one was when we decided to actually retire him. The first one, and then the second one where we ended up cutting the hay. That was when we decided his showing days were done. So we retired him after the hay was cut. And I was like, oh, great. So I have a suicidal horse. So I tell my friend, and she's like, horses are suicidal. I swear to God. They're suicidal. I'm going to stop.